But I can explain what happened yesterday.
Was yesterday necessary? Why go to the podium?
I don't think yesterday was necessary. In fact, when Stuart Varney asked me, do you think he's going to resign? I said, well, why would he call a national press conference like this just to resign? That's the news yesterday, is that today he's a private citizen. Reading between the lines, he still has a dispute with his boss, Attorney General Barr, over the meaning of his report. He still is arguing there is enough evidence of the president's culpability, I'm not using the word guilt, culpability on obstruction of justice, that they couldn't clear him on it. And he's saying the only reason we didn't charge the president is because of this Office of Legal Counsel opinion in October of 2000 saying you can't charge a sitting president. But that opinion, I have to tell you, is advisory, not mandatory. How do we know that? It came out October 16th, 2000. What happened in November of 2000, a month later? The same Justice Department charged the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, with lying under oath and with obstruction of justice. And what happened 2 months after that? He pleaded guilty. So it's obvious that this opinion that everybody's looking at in different ways is advisory and not mandatory. Where does this take us? He is certainly going to testify again, whether he wants to or not. He's a private citizen. They're probably going to serve him with a subpoena this afternoon. He has opened the door to that and basically said, I'm washing my hands of this, Congress. It's in your court.
When I was watching it yesterday, I thought, oh, my gosh, he's opening a whole new can of worms. America wants to move on. And then he had that one phrase that was so weird. He said, if we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said that. But then he didn't say that he did commit a crime.
This has got to be so frustrating for the president.
Right. Dershowitz said, Alan Dershowitz, the professor, he was interviewed yesterday, and he said proves that there's a motive to help the Democrats here. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I still think that Bob Mueller is a clean, honorable guy. Look, he did some stuff when he ran the FBI that I think is indefensible. No reason to get into that now. But I think he's a Marine, and he didn't want to challenge his boss, Bill Barr, in public. And the reason no indictment of the president came down is because the Attorney General would not permit one.
Judge, this is what's different. You can't believe Bill Barr and you can't believe Robert Mueller. They both keep telling the truth. Barr said 3 times. He said, Bob, is the only reason you're not charging him is because he's sitting president? And he said no 3 times. Mueller said the only reason I'm not charging him really is
because he's a sitting president.
So you guys fight it out. Also, for the record, Judge, if you look at me and ask yourself a question, does that count as my question? Because he kept looking at me asking a question. I'm like,
well, hold on. I took it as
what did I just do, Kilmeade?
I took it as he wasn't able to. He didn't say whether or not he did commit a crime. He basically said we couldn't determine it. But if he did, and if I had found that out, then I wouldn't charge him.
And if he wasn't the president, I would have charged him. Look, I think they're going to testify next to each other at the same time. That would be really dramatic.
Not in public. Mueller says I got to go behind closed doors or not at all.
Listen, they work for us. We don't work for them. If they testify in secret, the Republicans will come out and give their version. The Democrats will come out and give their version. We're adults. The government works for us. We're entitled to see this
Judge,
testimony.
are you allowed to charge a sitting president?
Yeah. Yes, we know that because Bill Clinton was charged with perjury.
So what Mueller said is not necessarily true.
I'm sorry to say yes, that's correct.
So where does it leave us?
It leaves us with Ainsley's phrase. I called you Ashley, forgive me. It's a can of worms. It's a new headache that the president doesn't need. It advances the ball into Congress's court. Yeah. It makes impeachment investigation almost certain.
Yeah. Ainsley, make sure you're patenting that phrase, can of worms.
Can of worms. Used for fishing. Used for fishing.
I'm off to D.C. today, Brian.
All right, we're going to watch our special report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I wonder what we'll be talking about.
I think